All right then, so we're going to make wonton noodle soup, and what we're going to do is read through the ingredients, read through the equipment, which I've realised on this recipe is missing, but we'll go over that. Fantastic. All right, so wonton fillings. We're going to need some mince. I've just got chicken mince because one of my daughters is allergic to prawns, but you can either do lean pork mince or chicken mince or whatever kind of mince you've got, and some prawns if you've got those. You'll need some ginger. And all we're doing here is just checking that you've got everything on your workspace. We're not worried about volumes. We're just getting organised before we start cooking. So you'll need some ginger. You'll need some shallots. You'll need some soy sauce, some Chinese rice wine vinegar or Chinese wine. If you've got it, if you don't have it, so not a drama. You'll need some salt, some sesame oil. Again, if you haven't got sesame oil, that's fine and dandy. It really does make a bit of a difference, I think, in the flavour, but it isn't something that everybody's got in their cupboard. So you'll need some chicken stock, some garlic cloves, some more ginger, some more soy sauce, a little bit of sugar, some more Chinese vinegar or rice wine. I've lost my spot. And some more sesame oil. And then you'll need some shallots, some bok choy, or some Chinese broccoli, and some noodles. And of course, you'll need some wonton wrappers. Great. So I can never find wonton wrappers at Woolies, and now I've discovered where they hide them. So I was very excited by that because I would always go to the Asian supermarket, and then the other day my daughter said, "No, Mum, this is where they're hidden." So I found them. Brilliant. And you can actually make wonton noodles, you can actually make wonton wrappers from scratch, which is super fun, but that is for another recipe, another day. Brilliant. So you're going to need a chopping board and a knife. You'll need a bowl. You'll probably need a couple of bowls. You'll need a little bowl like this, just a little bowl because we'll put some, you're going to need somewhere to put your wonton wrappers, like once you've made them. You'll need either a metal spoon or a masher. I'm just going to use a metal spoon. And you'll need a dessert spoon as well, a dessert spoon. And of course you'll need a saucepan and some tongs. I've got some tongs here as well. Great. Fantastic. Excellent. All right then. Now I normally print my recipe out, and I always encourage everyone to print their recipe out or write it out. However, my printer ink ran out, and everything is doable in lockdown. There's another way to do things is what I say. So fabulous. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start with making the wonton filling, and then we're going to make the broth, and then I'm going to show you how to put it all together at the end. So we'll start with the wonton filling. So get your chicken or whatever kind of mince you're using. So you'll need a bowl. So I've got a bowl here. And I want you to add your mince. So if you're using pork mince or chicken mince, add 200 grams of pork mince to your bowl and 200 grams of peeled prawns. And we'll just adding that to our bowl. Now keep in mind we're working with prawns, prawns and raw meat. So it's really important that you're managing your safety. So whatever that raw chicken touched, make sure that you are aware of it so you can clean it up. So if it touches a bowl or it touches any of your utensils or any of your boards, all of those have to be washed in hot soapy water. Fantastic. All right, so we've got our meat and we've got our prawns. You'll need a tablespoon of ginger. A tablespoon of ginger. Now, whether you've got fresh ginger or whether you've got this kind of ginger, what's it called? Crushed ginger. So about a tablespoon of crushed ginger, because ginger gives it a beautiful, beautiful flavour. And the ginger is going to be one of the kind of key flavours. So it's a nice big tablespoon of ginger, or if you're cutting it up, we keep our ginger in the freezer, because if I keep ginger in with my potatoes and my garlic, it always dries out. But if I keep it in the fridge, in the freezer, it lasts for months. So you've got 1 tablespoon of ginger, and then you're going to chop up 2 shallots or green onions, depending on what you call them, or spring onions. And we're going to add that, not the white bits. So if you can use the green bits and add that to your mixture, because we can use the white part of the ginger. You can use the white part of the shallot for our soup. So I just had I had a whole stack of this from another recipe, which I'd already chopped up, and I'm going to add mine. So you've got 2 shallots, the green part only, and we're going to keep those white parts and add them to our soup. So you want your shallots to be not too thick. You want them to be a good, quite thin pieces, because this is going to become almost like a paste.
Excuse me?
Yeah, Benjamin.
Can you slow down a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Yep, fantastic. So you've got your chicken. Oh, sorry. You've got your mince and you've got your prawns. And you've got ginger, 1 tablespoon of ginger, and you've got shallots, 2 shallots or 2, yep, beautiful. And the green part only, beautiful. All right, so the next thing is 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. If you've got light soy sauce, use your light. I only have 1 version. I have your regular soy sauce. I never measure over the bowl. I always measure at the side, nice and slowly. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. One tablespoon of soy sauce and 2 tablespoons of Chinese cooking wine. I've got rice wine vinegar. That's what I'm going to use. 2 tablespoons. Make sure that you pop your lids on things at the end, just in case you don't knock it over accidentally. So we've got 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of Chinese cooking wine or cooking vinegar, and half a teaspoon of salt. Half a teaspoon of salt. Again, make sure that you don't measure over the top of your bowl, particularly with salt. Half a teaspoon of salt. So we've got our 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of Chinese cooking wine, half a teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. So that's quite a bit. 2 tablespoons of sesame oil.
We have like full strength soy sauce. Can we leave the salt out?
Yep, no, that's what I've got. Yep, that's beautiful.
Do you think we should leave the salt out? That soy sauce is so salty.
No, I don't, because you can reduce the salt in the broth, but you want your meat, your wontons to be full of flavour. Okay. So if you don't eat a lot of salt in your family generally, then leave the salt out. Yeah. So but sometimes I've made these, when we make dumplings, sometimes I've made them and I've thought, oh, gee, even though I've put soy sauce in, it still needs a little bit more. So I tend to kind of go, but then I'm a salt eater. So well, with cooking, it's all about having a go, isn't it? All about having a go. And if you make something one time and then you think, oh, then the next time you can always improve on it. Brilliant. All right. Once you've got your 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, what you can start doing then is you're wanting to start mixing everything together. So you can either use a masher like the recipe says. I'm just using a fork because I'm not using prawns. So the recipe does say don't turn, what does it say? Don't turn the prawns into a complete paste. So just keep your eye on that one. You want all of the flavours and all the sauces to go in together. So it's nice and fairly smooth, not smooth as in like a paste, but smooth as in everything binding together well. So that will probably take you 30 seconds to a minute, and then you'll be done. Once you've done that, once you've mixed it all together and you're happy with it, just put it to the side for the moment, because what we're going to do is just get our broth going so that all those flavours that can start working, and then we can be multitasking. Okay. Yeah.
What size saucepan would we use?
All right. So you're going to need, this is the one I'm going to use, because you need to just get a fairly big size one. Don't get a small one, because you need 3 cups of chicken stock to sit in there. So then you're going to measure out 3 cups of I'll start again. 3 cups of chicken stock. 3 cups of chicken stock. Straight into your saucepan, or that is 750 mils. Let me just go back up to the top of this recipe. So, if you've got a litre of stock, if you've got a pack with a litre, pop a full litre in. It's better that you make extra. Yeah, if you've got your Great, I'm just making my stock up here, sorry. Great. Now remember the whites of the shallots or the spring onions. Remember I said put the green part into your filling. Well, the white part, what I want you to do is I want you to add the white part of your shallots into your broth or your stock. So that's going to add some nice amount of flavour. So just if you want to chop those up and just pop them in. So you've got your stock, and then you want to add 2 garlic cloves, smashed. And the reason we smash them is to get all the flavour of the oils out. I'm just using my jar to smash mine, but if you've got a proper little garlic press or daisy. What we're wanting to do when we smash them is to release all the beautiful oils. So 2 garlic cloves, or if you're like me, I'm going to get another one in. Mine's gone running in action. No. So we've got 2 garlic cloves and a 1 centimetre piece of ginger, or if you're using your crushed ginger, I would put a teaspoon of ginger. So it's 1 centimetre of sliced ginger, or if you're using crushed ginger, put 1 teaspoon.
Beth,
Yep.
do we take the skin off the ginger?
Yeah, yes. So slice the ginger up. And ginger skin is usually quite easy to just slice off. If you want to, you can actually just slice your ginger up, pop it into your soup, because you're going to fish it out at the end. So really you don't even need to peel it. You can just put it straight in. So we've got our garlic cloves, we've got our ginger, And then you want 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce again. 1.5 tablespoons. Oh, yeah, tablespoons. I'm making sure I do it right. 1.5 tablespoons. That's going to give it a nice colour as well. One and a half tablespoons of light, well, it says light soy sauce. You can use, as the rest of us are doing, just the regular soy sauce. And then you want 2 teaspoons of sugar. 2 teaspoons of sugar. So not 2 tablespoons. I'm just going to grab mine out of my cupboard. So this is balancing sour and sweet. Two teaspoons of sugar. And 1.5 tablespoons of the Chinese cooking wine. Or the cooking vinegar, whatever you've got. 1.5 tablespoons. This beautiful broth is just full of flavour. So amazing. Two teaspoons of sugar, 1.5 tablespoons of Chinese cooking wine or your vinegar, and then 1/4 teaspoon of your sesame oil again, 1/4 teaspoon. So we've got loads of the sesame oil in the filling, but we're only doing 1/4 teaspoon, let's say 1/2 teaspoon. What does it say? I'm just double checking. 1/2 teaspoon of sesame oil. Fantastic. Great. And then what you want to do once you've got all of your beautiful flavours in your pot is pop it on to boil. I'm actually going to put mine over here. So the recipe says place the lid on, bring to a simmer, and then reduce to medium-high and simmer for up to 10 minutes. Because we're letting all of those beautiful flavours develop in together. Great. Fantastic. Now, the other thing that you might want to do is your noodles. So everybody has different noodles. So if you need to soak your noodles in some either cold water or hot water, you might want to do that now. So just so that you're not doing that at the end. I'll just get another bowl. So some noodles have to be put into boiling water. Some noodles you can just cook them in cold water. So my noodles have to be put into boiling water. So I'm literally just boiling the kettle, and then I'm going to pour the water on top of my noodles. I'm going to do that separate and not cook them in the broth, because otherwise the broth goes all starchy. So I'm just going to do that at the side. I talked before about having a little bowl. What I want you to do is half fill it with some cold water. So you've got you can see I've got a plate here. I've got my filling here. And I've got my wonton noodles wrappers here. Oh, I love doing this so much. Part of the activity is, I won't start, I'll give everyone 1 minute to catch up. I'm just going to boil my kettle. All right then, so the next part of it is doing your wontons. So you might have your own little way of doing it, which is awesome. I pick up one wrapper. With my other hand, I just wet two edges. Two edges. Then I get about half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon is perfect of filling. And you can do it however you want. I'm going to do it, I'll just move that out of the way so everyone can see. So I've got the opposite corners, and then I bring them all together and basically just scrunch them up together and seal them, because you don't want them coming undone. That's as easy as it is. Now, you can get super creative. You can do all sorts of little ways. So I've got my wonton wrapper. If you've got a round shape, you can do little dumpling ones if you want to. So literally half a teaspoon of filling. Half a teaspoon is absolutely perfect. You don't want to overfill, because if you overfill, it will bust open during cooking. Great. And then you just make them. So if you want, oops-a-daisy. So just keep in mind you're working with raw meat, so don't put your fingers near your mouth. But sort of do one, play around with it, and then work out if you're happy with that amount or if you want to try to put a little bit more in. The important thing is making sure that all of your little parts are all sealed up. Because if you don't, they're going to bust open during cooking. So yeah, I've just doubled the amount to 1 teaspoon. So 1 teaspoon is definitely enough, but you don't want to do any more than 1 teaspoon. Oh, they look so cute, don't they? I'm going to boil my noodles first into this water, simply because my noodles which will take hardly any time at all. I just want the noodles to be finished before I start cooking the wontons. And I'm going to prep my bok choy as well. Got a lot of things going on here, so. I'm just going to slice up my bok choy ends. And I've got those ready to go. So we're just going to make sure everything is prepped. So when you're ready to assemble everything together,
Is our broth still on simmer?
good question. Yeah, just put it on a really low simmer. If you want to pull out like some of the whole vegetables, you can do that now. So if you want to pull out the garlic strips and the ginger strips, I'm just using a slotted spoon to do that, so that we've got a broth rather than a stock. So then I've got left, but I want it to be hot, so I'm leaving it. Oh, goodness me. Yep, there's my noodles all ready to go. So I've cooked my noodles and I'm going to just simply blanch my bok choy. Oops. I'm just blanching my bok choy for about a minute in that boiling water. Just so that it's cooked already. I'm waiting for the bok choy to wilt down, which is hardly taking any time at all. All I'm doing here is blanching my bok choy just for 2 minutes, just to make sure that that's nice and soft. All right, so let me catch you up to speed. Just make sure we're all on the same page. I've got my noodles. It's all good. Everyone relax. I've got my noodles ready to go. I've blanched my bok choy. And the other thing that I've done, I'll just put that on there, is that I've taken all of the veggies, the ginger and the garlic, out of my broth. And that's just sitting on a nice low heat. I'm just going to show you now. I've got my water boiling and I've got some wontons and I'm putting them straight into the water. I don't want to overcrowd the water, and I haven't salted the water because there's so much flavour. I'm going to put about 12 in, and they're going to float. Whoops, Daisy, float. They're going to go straight to the bottom, and then when they rise to the top, we're going to wait for 2 minutes. So you'll suddenly see them rise. And you'll need to put them onto a clean plate. Because we're working with raw meat, that's my dirty plate, and this is my clean plate. So we're waiting for the wontons to rise to the top. And after it does that, then we wait for 2 minutes. Because it's raw meat, we've got to make sure it's 100% cooked. While I'm waiting for those to cook, I'm going to put some of my noodles into the bottom of, oh gee, that went well. Whoops, Daisy, should have put them straight in. Oh, here we go. Our noodles are coming to the rise. All right, that's better. I've got some noodles. I've got some bok choy. There's my little sorted spoon. Right, I'm just going to watch my clock just to double check. Just giving them a little jiggle around in the pot. So all of mine have risen to the top. I'm just 1 minute down. I'll wait for another minute. I am going to do a check just to double, triple check that they are cooked. All right, fantastic. I'm going to pull one out. Slippery little sucker. Pull one out. And I'm just going to slice it in half. I want to be sure that it's definitely cooked in the middle. Oh, yum, yum. All right. So I'm going to plate 3 straight into my bowl. Oh, that looks so amazing. Ideally, it's best to plate them straight into the bowl you're serving in, because they will be slippery and they'll stick to each other. Oh, yum. Lots of steam here. Right. So now I've got my noodles, I've got my bok choy, and I'm going to put a nice ladle of the broth over the top. Oh my goodness, how good does this look? And it is ready to go. Now, if you want to put, can you see that? All right, I've got some noodles. I've got some bok choy. So I've got noodles in first, some bok choy. I plated the wontons straight on top, and then I've scooped some soup on top. And literally it's ready. Oh my gosh, ready to go. And it looks amazing. It probably needs a little bit of more, well, in my books, a little bit more green. So I've got some coriander that I'm going to put on top. And if you're a chili eater, you could slice up some chili to have it, or have it with some sriracha. Great. There will be a rush in a moment and that bowl will disappear from my people. Great. So it is well worth the 1 hour and 3/4